Senate Democrats are planning a vote this week to extend the payroll tax cut. How to pay for it. Tax millionaires even more. Does that make sense to you? To the president's top economic advisor, Alan Krueger? Apparently it does.
The families that would be affected by the tax cut tend to have a higher marginal propensity to spend, which would provide more support for the economy right away. Those in upper income groups with incomes above $1 million a year tend to have a lower marginal propensity to consume.
All right, we get you, Professor. Do my freedom fighters agree? Let's bring in Fox Business reporter and my colleague Ashley Webster, radio host and Freedom Watch regular Nancy Skinner, and Professor Benjamin Powell from the Suffolk University Department of Economics. Nancy, to you first. Did the Democrats support the payroll tax cut the first time around, and do they support it now as a way of seeing if the Republicans are true to their word?
They have all along. Part of the stimulus, $350 billion, were tax cuts. So this is a very clear, stark choice, Judge. Are the Republicans going to only stand up for millionaires, or they're extending their tax cuts over $1 million, or everyone else? Even the millionaires get payroll tax cuts, right? It shows their true colors, and it's a royal blue blood.
Got it. Ben, I got to tell you, I'm in favor of the payroll tax cut. I'm in favor of any tax cut you can think of, as long as it's accompanied by a spending cut, so that the government doesn't spend more than it takes in. We're not going to get that, are we?
I'm with you, Judge. I'm in favor of a tax cut whenever I can get it, even if I don't get a spending cut necessarily. But I think that's the really valuable point here. Why are they cutting the payroll tax to raise a tax somewhere else? It would be better if they cut the payroll tax and then cut the spending, which is the real burden of government anyway, to go along with it. You get much more effect for the economy over the long run out of that. Also, this is like a temporary extension of the payroll tax cut.
Right.
Putting in a long-term permanent tax increase will actually probably decrease economic activity because people respond to long-term incentives, not just short-term ones.
Yeah, Ben makes a very good point, and you are a watcher of Wall Street. The thing that they dislike the most, any business dislikes the most, is instability, an inability to plan beyond the end of your nose, because the laws and the rules keep changing.
Same for this, same for healthcare, anything you want to say, Judge. It does create an air of uncertainty, which Wall Street hates. A couple of things here. This is a surtax on millionaires, but it's on income, not wealth. So someone like Warren Buffett wouldn't pay this because his salary is $100,000, right?
Right.
So
well, he gets to set his own salary.
Well, that's right. Could be $1 for all we know. Yes, it comes down to the Republicans being put in a hard place. Do you raise taxes on the rich or the middle class?
I agree with you on keeping this payroll tax cut, Nancy, so it's nice to agree. But John Kyle made an interesting point when he said he was against it, and I didn't realize this. The payroll tax goes to Social Security. It's already extremely in debt. Do we want to make it worse? Nancy.
Well, that is a good point. The payroll taxes do go to fund Social Security and Medicare, which are big problems. So, you know, that is why even more reason that those of the most fortunate Americans that, I would say even beyond income, capital gains, dividends, should be paying more to make us more of a solvent nation.
All right. Mix the money around and redistribute wealth. We're going to switch gears into mixing food around. Better watch your salt shaker. The Food and Drug Administration is quietly building a case to regulate the salt content in everything you eat. It submitted proposals for public review, which include mandated targets, I never heard of this phrase, and stepwise reductions in the salt content of processed foods offered in supermarkets and restaurants nationwide. Is it really the FDA's responsibility to modify our taste buds, Nancy Skinner, by regulating the spices in our food, in your kitchen, on your kitchen table, Skinner?
You'll take that salt from my cold, dead hands, Judge. You know what? I will agree with you again. No, I don't think it's the role of government to say what the salt content should be, but I do believe in a capitalistic society in free information. So there should be labeling. If it's high sodium, medium, or low, then that consumer can make an informed decision himself. Right now, they try and trick you, and that is wrong.
Got it, Nancy. How much more information on the labels can there possibly be?
Well, I think I said to you in a note today, Judge, it's like War and Peace already on the side of these articles. We know what we want. We have the ability to make our own choice, and we should be able to do that without the government impinging on the manufacturers, the restaurants, and everyone else involved in the food industry, making them change when it should be up to us, not the government.
If the government tells people we've certified this food as safe, Professor Powell, are they less likely to inquire into its safety themselves? Stated differently, if the government controls salt, won't we be dependent upon it?
Yeah, I think so, Judge. I agree with you. America's food and drink police make me sick. And I was worried for a second that I was actually going to have to agree with Nancy completely, but then she saved me, so we can go back to our usual mode here. I do think the company shouldn't be able to defraud people and say it's not in there if it's in it. But we don't need mandatory disclosure statements either. If consumers want to know that, companies who put low sodium in will have an incentive to disclose it. And then we can assume those people who don't put it on there probably have lots of sodium, which means maybe the thing tastes better and is preserved a little bit longer.
Nancy, just
Thank God for sodium. How else would I get down Mom's mashed potatoes?
All right, Nancy, just a few seconds left. What's wrong with letting the free market decide this? Companies compete. We reveal what we have. XYZ, our competitor, doesn't. Nancy.
That's what Adam Smith said. Adam Smith said that is what is necessary for capitalism to work. Free disclosure of information. That's why. And so, you know, otherwise, look at diabetes. Look at what it's costing us. It's just not about personal freedom. It's costing us, trillions of dollars.
I knew it was going to come to this. I knew that Nancy agreeing with Professor Powell was too good to be true.
She almost got it.
She almost got it right.
Now
her argument is, since the government's going to pay the medical bills, the government gets to decide what we eat. Ashley Webster?
Absolutely.
They don't even do that in Great Britain, do they?
No, of course they don't. It's absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? What's terrible for you today will be great for you tomorrow.
Ashley Webster, Ben Powell, the indefatigable Nancy Skinner. It's a pleasure, guys. Thank you for joining us.